Hello squad, Rob here, nice to see you. Yes, it certainly is. So in today's video we're going to be going over Gigantamax Cinderace and how you can use it for competitive double battles. So firstly, whilst it is a pure fire type Pokemon, it's weak to rock, ground, water. It does have obviously a ability exactly the same as what Greninja had. It's just worded different. Obviously it has the traditional Blaze. This is not going to apply here. Don't ever use Blaze on Cinderace. Libero though is a very good ability. This basically gives Cinderace a way to change its type, and that means it gets the same type attack bonus on all of its moves, whether they do damage or not, which is very strong. Very strong indeed. Luckily though, it's I say luckily, we'll go have a look at its move pool now. It doesn't have like the widest move pool in the world, which I think is a good thing. If it had too much coverage, it'd be a little bit broken. So I'm quite thankful for that. But it's got its Pyro Ball though, 120 base power, 90% accuracy, has a 10% chance of reducing burn though, which is not too bad. It's got Fence. Bounce turns into max airstream with good damage, so very interesting. It also actually has two signature moves. It's also got Court Change. With its mysterious power, the user swaps the effects on either side of the field. So for example, say Lapras set up Auroville. If you use Court Change, this will put Auroville on your side of the field. This would also turn Cinderace into a normal type Pokemon. I don't think Cinderace really has much use for this. I don't think this warrants a move slot purely if they have screens. It's just not worth it. So let's carry on. Giga Impact, very strong normal type move. Some people have been using that. What else we got? Helping Hand. I don't think it's best used on Cinderace either. Bounce, as we've seen. U-turn. Low Sweep, Acrobatics, Taunt, Flare Blitz. I don't think you'd ever use that over Pyro Ball though, even though it's got 100% accuracy. So I suppose outside of Gigantamax, when it is run out, you could make a use for that. Zen Headbutt, strong Psychic type physical move. Gunk Shot, Iron Head. Electro Ball, it's only electric type move. Unfortunately it's special though. Actually has ally switch as well, so that's interesting. High jump kick there, very strong fighting type move, 100 base power, max knuckle. It's also got Sucker Punch, which is a great priority stab move. In terms of new move tutors, it's actually got Coaching. Whilst Coaching is a very good move, I don't think it warrants using this on Cinderace at all. Sure, it turns into a max guard, but I just don't think Cinderace is the greatest user of it. But there could be some instances. Again, like the Rillaboom and Inteleon, it has G-Max Fireball. This is a fire type attack that a Gigantamax Cinderace uses. This move can be used on a target regardless of its ability. So this ignores, for example, Disguise on Mimikyu and Flash Fire on Pokemon like Chandelure. This Cinderace probably has the most unappealing Gigantamax out of all three, because this means you can't set up Sun, which can be a little bit annoying. Rillaboom has Grassy Surge, so it sets up grassy terrain anyway, so it doesn't really need that max overgrowth. So losing Sun can be a thing, but again, this does turn into a 160 base power physical type move, which I think, in my opinion, personally doesn't make up for this, as well as being able to hit through Mimikyu's Disguise, and the very rare Flash Fires could also be very useful. Right, in terms of stats, it's got 80 base HP, 116 attack, which is very good, 75 defense, 65 special attack, which we're not going to ever use anyway, so it doesn't matter, 75 special defense and 119 speed, which is extremely good. I like how they gave it literally one base speed less than Inteleon. So that Pokemon still outspeeds it before it has a chance to change its type, which is quite interesting. I actually like this stat distribution, to be honest with you. I'm glad it doesn't have something stupid like 95 attack that you wouldn't find much use for. And its G-Max form actually looks pretty cool as well. I have to say I really like its G-Max form. At first, this was my favourite Gen 8 starter G-Max form, but Rillaboom's taken it back from me. I think this is still very cool though. In terms of its shiny though, I'm not really too... I mean, I don't dislike it shiny. I'm just not a huge fan either. Right, so next let's go on to Pokemon Showdown and see what sets I've built. I actually have only built... sorry about that. I have actually only built one set for Gmax Cinderace, purely because it doesn't really have a huge variety of move sets that you're gonna, or different sort of sets you're gonna want to run. You're always gonna pretty much be running a sweeping physical set with Jolly Nature. Some people might opt for a Adamant, but personally that's not worth losing out the speed. You can boost your attack with Max Knuckle, and giving yourself +1 obviously makes you even faster. Outspeed all them base 110s such as Raichu, Gengar, and all that good stuff. Again though, it is very frail, so it's not going to... Now, because Cinderace is very frail, it's not going to be taking a huge amount of attacks. I think Pyro Ball, before its G-Max form was out, Pyro Ball wasn't hugely used. Iron Head or Gunk Shot might have been on this slot instead. I think it did have some other moves as well. Let's have a quick look. Zen Headbutt you could argue for as well. Sets up that Psychic Terrain to get rid of Rillaboom's Terrain, so that could actually be pretty useful. Right, yes, so I think this is probably your best moveset here. Pyro Ball, Sucker Punch, Bounce, and High Jump Kick. You could, in theory, maybe replace High Jump Kick for maybe Gunk Shot, Iron Head, Zen Headbutt could also be an option. You could put Protect here. You could also put Coaching, Helping Hand, which turns into Max Guard. Personally, I think Cinderace that can always run Stab should probably be running 4 different moves that deal damage, making Gmax Cinderace quite predictable into not having Protect. So it does make it extreme bait to attack that slot. And again, being very frail, it doesn't take a lot to take it down. In terms of items, I think there's 2 items that you'd probably use most of the time, which would be either Expert Belt or Life Orb. I don't think you'd bother running Assault Vest here. It's not going to really help improve its bulk all that much, and it'd still be weak on the physical side. Although with Intimidate support, that could help balance it out. Personally, though, I really quite like Expert Belt. This increases the super effective hits by holders attack that are super effective against the target do 1.2 times damage, so they do more damage if it's super effective. If you want something a little bit more reliable though, Life Orb is definitely an item you could use, and you know, very safe item to use as well, giving yourself a 30% increase in a raw power straight there. But yeah, max speed and attack, personally I don't think there's much room for Cinderace to improve here. You could put Coaching if you wanted Max Guard, or Helping Hand. Court Change is another option. In terms of attacking moves, you've got Giga Impact if you're running Life Orb. This is a great form of speed control, very strong max move as well with Stab. You could also run Zen Headbutt if you wanted to run it alongside a Pokemon like Indeedee. Getting that Psychic Terrain power boost from it as well would also be quite nice. Zen Headbutt would also allow you to use Max Mindstorm to override opposing terrain such as Rillaboom's grassy terrain, so that is something to think about. Yes, but pretty simple here. I personally quite like High Jump Kick. If I was going to run a Cinderace, I think this would be my moveset with either a Life Orb or Expert Belt. I think it's pretty simple. Unfortunately, it does make Cinderace very predictable, but it is what it is. In terms of partners though, I think you're going to mostly be looking at partners that help redirect moves away from Cinderace. You know, which will be able to increase its survivability, which I think is very useful. Obviously, Mungus is a great partner here with Rage Powder, Spore. Pollen Puff gives Mungus a way of attacking, plus it also, if you use this on your ally Pokemon, so if I was to use Pollen Puff on Cinderace, it heals 50% of its max HP, giving Cinderace even more longevity, which is really nice. 4th slot, it's filler really, Protect, Giga Drain, entirely up to you, whatever you fancy really. And in terms of EV spread, it's just a nice bulky spread. But, you know, it's subject to change, whatever suits your team best. Next, we've got Togekiss. Again, this is a more bulky supported Togekiss with Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash, Follow Me, and Yawn. You could put Protect over Yawn. Again, this has got 60 speed EVs, because after Cinderace's max Airstream, this will allow Togekiss, I believe, to outspeed base 95s, such as Arcanine and stuff, which could be useful. In terms of that though, you could have Serene Grace as your ability if you wanted. You wouldn't necessarily have to run Super Luck, as you're not running Scope Lens on this set most of the time. Babri Berry is a choice. Otherwise, Safety Goggles to redirect any sort of Sleep Powder from Venusaur or Spore from Amoonguss. It can be very useful. And I think that's probably the better item there, to be honest with you. Another good partner is Indeedee Female. Indeedee Female is able to set up Psychic Terrain, meaning Rillaboom, even though Rillaboom doesn't particularly want to be one-on-one versus Cinderace, being able to override that terrain when Rillaboom comes in, you know, it's just nice. Gives you a bit of control, increases said headbutt if you are using it. But Indeedee also has the option to use Follow Me, which is very useful in redirecting those attacks away from Cinderace. Expanding Force is a nice, hits both targets if Psychic Terrain is on the field. Helping Hand helps boost Cinderace damage. Protect is there as well. I'm pretty sure the female does get Trick Room. No, it does not. Okay, so Protect is probably your best bet there. Right, I thought the female had Trick Room, but it doesn't. In terms of items, Psychic Seed or Focus Sash, either of those items are very good. Again, on Togekiss, you could also run Helping Hand over Air Slash or Dazzling Gleam if you wanted to. That is another option to help boost Cinderace's attack stat, helping deal more damage. Another good partner, I think, is actually Indeedee Male as well, because Indeedee Male actually has access to Trick Room, which means Indeedee Male can stop opposing Pokemon from setting up Trick Room, because obviously Cinderace is very fast, so in Trick Room he becomes very slow, and this is not good for a very frail Pokemon. So I think trying to prevent Trick Room from going up is something you do have to be careful for. So Imprison, Focus Sash, Indeedee, I think can actually be a pretty nice partner with a Focus Sash. You can also add Helping Hand to help Cinderace damage output, as well as Expanding Force. Now, because Indeedee Male is actually base 95 speed, so it's much faster than Rillaboom. So if you were to both lead your Trendsetters, Indeedee will lose that war, unfortunately. But if you was to run a quiet Indeedee with, you know, this could be 31 on 0, it's up to you. You would actually be slower than Rillaboom. Most Rillaboom don't run minimum speed just because it's not worth it. But that could be an option on Indeedee Male if you wanted to. Personally, though, I think probably going Timid, Max Special Attack, and Speed is probably better with a Focus Sash, allowing you to be very aggressive with your leads if you lead this with Cinderace. Which pretty much explains that. In terms of Indeedee Female, though, I forgot to say, this is just a very bulky set. You know, Psychic Terrain activates Psychic Seed, which boosts your special defense by 1 stage. So obviously running max HP and defense plus Bold Nature is nice. Indeedee Female, I think, can afford to run a minimum speed, so it does underspeed Rillaboom to make sure it doesn't have its grassy trend up. Again, no, you're not going to see many Rillaboom lead against a Cinderace, so especially a team based around Cinderace. Yes, so that's Indeedee Male there as well, also has that Helping Hand. Now, another good partner, I think, is going to be Whimsicott. Whimsicott gives you the option of running A nice lot of support that Cinderace can find very useful. Cinderace cannot outspeed Dragapult, whilst Dragapult I don't think has the best matchup against Cinderace because of priority Sucker Punch if they don't Gigantamax, as well as having a Max Darkness. It can still do a lot of damage with Helping Hand support, possibly Oko your Cinderace in G-Max form because it is very frail. So I think Tailwind support can be very nice for Cinderace, as well as Helping Hand as well. But yeah, very simple set. Max special attack and speed, Focus Sash, Protect as well. Up to you. If you want to run that, you could run something completely different. But personally, these are very good partners, I think, for Cinderace. Again, Cinderace doesn't have like the most biggest move pool in the world, so it doesn't have a lot of options. It is very prone to not running Protect, which means it means your opponent's always very safe to attack into that slot, which is very unfortunate because if you do run Protect, then you have to miss out on either Pyro Ball, Sucker Punch, Bounce, or High Jump Kick, and all 4 of those moves are extremely valuable. So yes, do be careful. Redirection, Cinderace highly appreciates. Yes, right, so let's go over to Pickalytics now, see how other people are using Cinderace. So, most popular 4 moves are actually High Jump Kick, Bounce, Sucker Punch, and Pyro Ball, followed by Iron Head, Giga Impact, Flare Blitz as well as Protect. Yes, so, I mean, that's pretty standard then, really. What else could you say? In terms of partners, Togekiss and Whimsicott are there. I know Rillaboom and Primarina make a very strong core with Cinderace if you're into that. I've only listed Pokemon that partner well with Cinderace to help it. In terms of core though, Primarina and Rillaboom actually partner very nice with Cinderace. Indeedee there as well as Amoonguss. Oh, there's Primarina. Another Indeedee, so got both Indeedees there. Most used ability is obviously Libero. In terms of items, Life Orb and Expert Belt. Life Orb is much more popular by the looks of it though. Even a weakness policy one there, which is quite funny. I suppose you could run a weakness policy Cinderace with Aqua Jet Primarina actually. That's something I did not consider. So you could in theory run weakness policy Cinderace. Obviously, before you change typing, you're going to be a fire type, so Primarina can activate weakness policy with Aqua Jet, making Cinderace be incredibly dangerous. So that's another thing you could do actually. Personally though, I really like the Expert Belt and Life Orb set. In terms of spread, they're all Jolly, 1 Adamant. Personally though, I would always go with Jolly. It's your safest bet. And it's also, how uses it? 23% number 4 in the monthly rankings. That's very huge. Let's go over to Badbury.net now and have a look and see how people are using it, see what sort of teams it's been used on. So this team does have Rillaboom and Whimsicott. No, not Pangoro, Urshifu, I assume. This one's actually got Togekiss and Amoonguss there. Gyarados as well, very cool. Rillaboom here. Indeedee female. Indeedee again and Whimsicott. Whimsicott Indeedee. Togekiss, Primarina there. Indeedee again. So yeah, it's very versatile. You can use it on a lot of teams by the looks of it. We're not going to look at all of them, but as you can see, there's a huge common ground here. Oh, right, you approve of that one. Best team ever. Yes. So yeah, it's got a lot of versatile because it can change its typing, which makes it very strong. I really like its G-Max design. I think it's very cool. Not too fond of its regular shiny though. Not my favourite. But we could tell who was probably supposed to be the most used Gen 8 starter was definitely supposed to be Cinderace, in my opinion. Personally though, I think Rillaboom's going to take that slot just because it's much more reliable, because Cinderace is very frail. But do bear in mind, Cinderace is extremely powerful, not to be underestimated. Very frail, can be a little bit predictable because of its 4 move slot syndrome. Doesn't really have room to run Protect, which is also very unfortunate. But yeah, otherwise a very good Pokemon, a very strong. Japanese name Aceburn. Oh man, that's well cool. Aceburn, I like that. Pyro Butt for French. I assume it isn't said like that, surely. Pyro Butt, I love it. Liber Elo, I like that as well. Right, yes, but that's pretty much how to use Gmax Cinderace. If there's anyone out there has used it, let me know how you get on with it. Is it easy to use? Is it difficult to get going? Is it too frail for your liking? You know, have you thought of any other more interesting ways to use Gmax Cinderace? Let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, I hope you all found this guide very useful. A very strong Pokemon. I'm not sure I'm going to give it a go though, but we'll see. Otherwise, please give the video a thumbs up. Very highly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Otherwise, I will see you all later. Rob out.